It's been a long day without you, my friend.
And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
Brian Steinmetz.
Hey, Adam Miller. Why don't you hop in for one final ride?
All right, but first, let's take a timeout. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please no standing ovation until the end of the show. I am Adam Miller, and to my right is my brother and my partner, Brian Steinmetz. And Brian, got some bad news, man. I mean, we knew the day would come, but it's finally here. Our last Temple Timeout. How you feeling, man?
Adam, while it may seem like bad news, this is a happy day. This week has been a culmination of our endeavors and achievements here in North Philadelphia, and Temple Timeout has been one of them for the both of us, and we still have one more.
Yeah, you're right, and as they say, the show must go on. Hopefully, once we're done with this show, though, some big-name agency comes calling for us. Kind of like how Rock Nation came calling for Quentin Rose.
That's right, you are, my friend. Former Temple basketball captain Quentin Rose is a member of rapper Jay-Z's agency, Rock Nation. In doing so, Rose puts himself in a nice position entering the NBA draft, whenever that may be, by signing with such a popular agency.
Yeah, and Rose isn't the only player leaving from last year's basketball team, with Nate Pierre-Louis also heading to the NBA, and 3 other members of the team transferring out of North Broad. Taking their place is a slew of recruits and transfers headed by Quincy Ademakoya, Jaleel White, Nick Jordan, Khalif Battle, Sage Tolbert, and of course, our fan favorite, because he came on the show and is a fan of the program, Jeremiah Williams.
Back once again, joining us is Temple Timeout reporter, who else but Brooklyn Vaughan, to talk about what to expect from Aaron McKie's group next season. Brooklyn, how you doing?
Gentlemen, it's good to be back one final time. First of all, I want to say congratulations to you both, but yeah, thrilled to be here.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Means a lot coming from you.
Yeah, Brooklyn, thank you a lot. Let's get this conversation kickstarted, shall we? Here we go. For his first real official off season, how do you guys grade Aaron McKie's performance? Did he do enough to outweigh all the departures that left his team?
Well, I'm going to answer this one first. And in my opinion, I think he did a good job, but not stellar. He made some mistakes along the way. Obviously, losing somebody like Nate Pierre-Louis, it's going to hurt the team and the brother, Josh Pierre-Louis, who seemed like he was going to have a great season next year after really coming off the bench strong for him, also gone. So you don't like that, but the recruits, they fill all the holes. So I'm going to give it a B. I think I'm steady on it. I don't know about you, Brooklyn.
No, Adam, I think you hit the nail right on the head there. Losing guys like Quentin Rose, Pierre-Louis, Alani Moore, Monty Scott, that's going to be really hard to replace. But I think, I feel strongly enough in the recruit class of 2020 and the 2 transfers coming in that, I would say anywhere from like a B+. You can't expect too much with the amount of turnover that you have right now from this team. But I think it'll pay off. I think it'll be, a good transition down the line for them.
Can't forget as well, doing all of this throughout a pandemic is not easy for a second-year head coach.
Let's go ahead and move on to the next question. Obviously, lots of guys left, like we were just mentioning, but the team also gained a lot of these transfers and new recruits. So, guys, I want to ask you now, who is going to be the biggest loss and who is the most important add to this team?
I'll take this one first, Mr. Miller. The best add to this team is our fan of the program, Jeremiah Williams. I expect him to come in right away and make a large difference for this squad. And I think the biggest loss, it has to be Quentin Rose. This man practically led the stat sheet not only for Temple, but the AAC in general. So losing a guy like that, a captain like that, is monumental for a program like Temple.
Oh, you took my guy. You want to take the fan of the program from me. That's okay. I have another one. He's actually already on the team, but he hasn't played yet. Ty Strickland. I think when he joins the team, he's a verified scorer, really, really good from outside the arc, and also his dad, Rod Strickland, former NBA player. I mean, you love those NBA bloods. McKee obviously played with him and knew him during his time in the NBA, so I like that combination there for Ty Strickland. And the biggest departure, another guy you took from me is Quentin Rose. I mean, I had that every rose has its thorn kind of thing for so long.
I couldn't let you say it one more time. I couldn't let it happen.
I know, I get it. But I still made sure it happened at least. But Napier Louis, that's my guy. I've been standing for him all season long. Obviously going to the NBA, and maybe he does come back. We don't know. But if he does leave, I feel like it's going to be a very, very big hit for this team. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you get Napier Louis back. But if not, I feel like that's going to be a big loss. So last question for everybody here, and I think this is just a pretty basic question, is what are our expectations for this season now that there's so much turnover?
All right, guys, I'll go ahead and take this one first. Like we've been saying, there's so much change going on in this offseason between their transfers and their recruit class. Losing guys, their top four of their top five scorers, that's not going to be an easy feat to do in one season. So while losing those big names might hurt for some Temple fans, I'm going to say stay optimistic, let Aaron McKee do his thing. I think that this will pay off down the road, and I think, hey, have high expectations for next season.
What do I expect for next season, you ask Adam Miller?
I do. Let me know.
The answer is simple, and that's a national championship.
Oh, stop it.
Why should you expect anything less than that? No, I'm playing. Here we go. All right. Next season, I think will be a good turning point for McKee and his squad. I think because it's his first, like we mentioned, it's his first real offseason as head coach. So it's really kind of starting to become his team. A lot of the players were Fran Dunphy's. He recruited him. He brought him here. And I think Aaron McKee's going to do a good job. He's done a good job already bringing these new guys in. And I think you'll see a lot of chemistry build throughout the season and in the years to come. Obviously, no national championship. That would be nice. That would be really nice to have. But I could see us having around maybe another 500 or above season. A few games above 500 maybe.
Yeah, I'm fingers crossed with that national championship that you were talking about, Stein, but I'm thinking a couple years down the road, and I'm okay with it. I don't know about you. All right, Brooklyn, you've been awesome. Thanks so much for coming on the program. You're a fan of the program, obviously, for coming on so many times. We appreciate you helping us out during this stretch, and we hope to see you soon. Good luck next year on Temple Timeout.
Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure. You guys are the best.
The show is in good hands with you, Brooklyn Vaughan.
Now, Stein, as we talked about earlier, this is our last show together on Temple Timeout, but we had some awesome moments along the way.
That we did.
Lucky for us, our talented producer, Brian Matthias, threw together some of our best clips from the last few semesters into one video. Let's take a look.
You can just hear the momentum going up.
Oh, a good finish at the end as well.
4.83. So that's a lot slower than he was last time.
All right, now we got Brian Steinmetz running the three-cone drill, and you know what? He's in sneakers, so I wonder if he's going to slip and fall on any turns here.
Oh, I think he will.
We have the first fall today, Connell.
Back from last week again is the segment Miller's Killers, where Adam is going to talk about.
You want to hoop on Saturday? We gonna hoop on Saturday. Oh, he's quiet. He's quiet. Shut up. He's quiet. I smell fear in the air. I'm showing him. He has no athletic ability. Look at his
This year, we're introducing a new segment called Stein's Lines, where Brian's going to be giving you all the over, unders, and lines of some of the AAC matchups.
So we have Navy and Memphis up first. Memphis is minus 10.5 at home, and I actually like that a lot. Plus, we can introduce the new segment, Miller's Killers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you have been stinking it up on Stein's Lines.
We can talk about that later. That's where Adam's going to be talking about which Temple athlete has been killing it recently. Adam, who do you got?
Let me tell you, Stein, I have been waiting to add this player to Miller's Killers, but I needed to wait for a breakout game, and he finally delivered. Brandon Mack, or should I say Brandon Moss, is this week's Miller's Killer.
Because you don't think it's worthy.
Yeah, well, no, I think it's good. It's in the top 10. It definitely, maybe
That's
around
ridiculous.
the 6, 8 range.
That's ridiculous.
It's known for one speech. Come on, it's one speech.
One speech?
I realize it's a real story, but it doesn't make the whole movie.
It was the biggest upset in sports, Adam Miller.
Yeah, why would I go?
Time.
We're gonna go one more time.
Oh wait, I was laughing the whole time.
As for us, we are all out of timeouts for today's show.
Yeah, well, we're all out of timeout today, Brian.
We are fresh out of timeouts.
We're all out of timeouts.
Someone has got to host this show and talk about all these lovely athletics, and I'm glad it's you and me, brother.
Hey, man, I appreciate that.
Unfortunately, we are all out of timeouts for today's show.
Yeah, another week down. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media at TU_sports desk and at our mother station at Temple Update for all the content you could possibly want regarding the school.
For Ray Dunn, Adam Miller, and everyone behind the scenes here at Temple Timeout, I am Brian Steinmetz. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week, and have a great weekend, everybody.
So, Stein, it's our goodbye, and I'll be honest. Last night, I went to the bell tower, and I sat down, I just started to think. I thought about everything these last 4 years have given me, and, Temple Timeout, it's probably one of the biggest blessings. I've learned so much about myself, TV production in general, and so much more being just on this show. Obviously, we have to thank people like Peter Jaroff, Paul Gluck, and George Cummings for even making this possible through Temple Update. But what about the other guys on the cast? I mean, we don't talk about them enough. People like Maeve, Quadri, Jack, Nick, and Liana. They help the show out so much from behind the scenes, and we just have to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. I know I speak for you when I say that too. Now that we're at the end of the road, I think that's what I'm going to cherish the most. It's the relationships that you got to make throughout this show. And that's what I want to thank everybody for giving me and you the opportunity to be silly, to grow, and to, of course, make friends.
Adam, you say all this stuff about what you learned from Temple Timeout, and I feel the same way. I never thought, coming to Temple, I would end up doing what I was doing with, the sports desk. I started it, Larry O'Connor brought me in a few years ago and then introduced me to Vince Call. He became a really, really good mentor to me. And Vince Call actually started this show with Bree Hofsass a few years ago. And he called me one day a couple of years ago and told me he was rebooting it with Bree, and he wanted me to be his reporter and help out a lot with the show. And here we are a year and a half later, and Vince and Bree passed this show onto you and I, Adam, and it's been such a privilege. Like you said, special thanks to Peter Jaroff, George Cummings, and Paul Gluck for letting us be the goofballs we are on this show and putting their trust in us. Vince and Bree, you guys know what you've done for the two of us. We've talked about it several times. You guys taught us everything we know, and I'm forever grateful for that. All the studio workers, like Adam mentioned in the past, thank you guys so much. You've made it so fun for us to come in every week, walking into room 110, just goofing off before the show, singing to music videos, playing Hangman. It's the moments like that you're going to miss, and I'm forever grateful for that as well. Now for the two that help me put the show together every week, to our amazing producer, Brian Matthias. Brian, man, you are so talented at what you do, man. You're seriously going to fly when you get out of Temple. And thank you for being the best producer and friend that you have been to me the last few years, man. I've said this to you before, but you're like a little brother to me, man. And absolutely none of this would be possible without you. And Adam, to work with you these last couple of years has been absolutely such a privilege. I mean, you're such a hard worker with this passionate drive that it's going to take you places, brother. I truly mean that. The efforts you put in with this show and with Temple Update, it's phenomenal. It doesn't go unnoticed. I mean, there's a reason you were chosen to anchor all these different shows and given all these responsibilities, and it shows. I wouldn't have wanted to anchor this show with anybody else. Gentlemen, we've come a long way. And Adam, we graduated yesterday. We did it, man. Congratulations to you, and thank you for letting me be your co-anchor and your brother. I mean, the show is in good hands moving forward for sure.
Yeah, I was saving that to the end too. Just a big thanks to Brian Matthias. Like you said, little brother to both of us. Awesome kid, awesome guy. He's in the Zoom call right now that we're in. We're looking at him. He's just looking at the ground. He's not paying any attention to us. He doesn't like the shine very much, but man, he deserves it. And Stein, I mean, hey, they said it best at the MSP Awards. I mean, the 1-2 duo, they said that we were pretty good. You know what I mean? They said that's what captured them. And It's really, really lucky that I got to work with you during this show. I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. Really, really appreciate everything you did for me and how much you pushed me to be better. You really did. So, for one last time, unfortunately, Stein, we're all out of timeouts. Be sure to follow us on our social media at @TU_SportsDesk and at Temple Update.
For Brooklyn Vaughan, Brian Matthias, Adam Miller, and everyone behind the scenes who have made this award-winning show so special to us the last couple years, I am Brian Steinmetz. Thank you so much for allowing us onto your screens and letting us be the goofballs that we are. Enjoy your summer, stay safe, and don't forget to smile.